Our guest today is philanthropist Desh Deshpande. We just concluded a series of 27 videos about entrepreneurship, which is based on his book on entrepreneurship. Today we are going to summarize our series and talk to him about the power of one thing. The one thing which is very important in various aspects of personal life as well as entrepreneurship, success and failure. Desh, welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
And it has been a pleasure running your the video series on our Indus Business Show on Indian News and our YouTube channel. And thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you.
So today we are going to conclude this series with talking about the power of one. Please feel free to add, amend, and put some strings attached. But the basic your answer should be about the one thing which is very important to that.
Okay.
So let's start with you. The one habit you attribute for your success in life and in business.
I would say building relationships with people because, I think everything I do is my ability to do things is multiplied by the people that I work with. And so I've developed a very good sense for being able to read and size up people.
The one thing you will not change in your life.
Being the optimistic person that I am, it doesn't matter what happens. I always feel that everything's going to be okay.
The one thing given a chance you will change.
In my case, I probably would be more disciplined in my lifestyle. Now I am. I probably wasn't as much, but I probably have a lot of room there to improve in terms of being able to exercise every day and do all the things that I should be doing, which I think I'm doing an okay job, but I could be doing better.
One good characteristics of a successful entrepreneur.
I would say two things, naivete and optimism. I think naivete is sort of feeling that you can do anything in this world, Most probably it's not true, so people who are very thoughtful have a very hard time with that. They tend to think about everything that can go wrong, everything that's wrong with the world, and they get paralyzed and they don't act. Whereas entrepreneurs act. And when they act, things go wrong. But that's where you need this optimism. Maybe it's not real, but you need that feeling that it's going to be okay.
One reason most entrepreneurs fail.
They fail because they try to do too much. I think one thing that you don't have as an entrepreneur is always you're starting with a clean sheet of paper. You have a big idea. You don't have resources. You don't have people. You don't have the time. You don't have things to make it all happen. And most of the time, entrepreneurs try to do too much, and they just won't get to the end of it because you just are failing because you don't have a critical mass of effort.
When an entrepreneur is growing up the company, what is the one thing they should look for in hiring employees?
Commitment and hunger. I think a lot of the people look for expertise and people who have done things before. But if people have the expertise, but if they're bored and they're not excited, it doesn't work. You really want people who get up in the morning and are excited about coming to work and they have something to prove.
When you think that you are ready to seek venture capital?
When you have a plan that is viable, that shows that if you put in some money, that actually you can get to the point where you can give back more, because that's the only way you line up your interest with the interest of the venture capitalist. Venture capitalists are investing money in you so that they can make a multiple on the money they put in you.
One characteristics or one feature you want to know that the venture capitalists should have before investing in your company?
Well, domain knowledge. Have they done this kind of stuff before? And because venture capitalists add value by pattern recognition. So if they've done a lot of these things before, then they will be able to say, I think it's going well, I think it's not going well.
Now, in today's era, I think going public is a very sexy thing. Why should an entrepreneur take that option?
Well, if you go public, number one, you get a lot more resources, because now instead of raising money from one or two people, you can raise money from lots of people, and you get the visibility, and you get liquidity. So if you sell the company, you're out of it. Whereas if you go public, you can take partial liquidity and continue to build the organization.
The one reason I should have the exit plan.
Well, I would say don't have the exit plan. Just plan on building a great company, and if you build a lot of value, you'll have a lot of options. But if you start with an exit plan, unlikely that you'll get there.
The one link between entrepreneurship and philanthropy
is the ability to make a difference. In one case, you're making difference to a community of people where people can buy those things and they have disposable income, so you can have a profit. In the other case, you're making a difference to the lives of a lot of people who can't pay for it themselves, but you can have other financial models. It could be government, it could be philanthropy, it could be charity, it could be grants. But the ability to see the world and say, it doesn't have to be this way, it can be something better, is what ties that social sector and the economic sector together.
The one reason every entrepreneur should think about philanthropic activities.
Well, I think good entrepreneurs are always driven by making a difference. And I think if entrepreneurs always just focus on solving problems of the rich, in some ways rich don't have those many problems anymore. All the problems are with the poor segments, right? And so you do have to make sure, if you want to have a complete life, that you can make a difference in the lives of lots of people, not just the privileged few.
One way to bring back an angry ex-customer.
Oh, angry customers are probably the best customers to have, because when everything is going well, you're not even a part of their life, right? They don't even know that you exist. When something goes wrong is when the customer is angry. He's angry because it's affecting his business, it's affecting his life, it's something very important. So when he makes a call, that's the best opportunity for a company to build loyalty. So you really take care of him, you listen to him, you work with him, you solve his problem, and once he feels that you're taking care of him, he'll be a customer forever.
One reason you should get rid of your customer.
Well, if it's not a good fit, sometimes you get a customer because it's a connection from somebody to somebody, or you oversold something. That is, if you sell something to somebody and they give you X, they better make 2X with it. But if you're selling something and it's adding no value to that person, then he's a bad customer. You should walk away.
Looking today, there is a lot of consciousness about social enterprise. People are, learning more about, their responsibilities. Give us one example where you think that you have impacted social enterprise or social life, or you have been impressed by that.
Well, I think the biggest thing that I'm impressed with the effort that we've been for the last 10 years, is how within 4 months you can change the mindset of anybody. There is a lot of young men and women in India, some of them 10 years, failed SSLC, passed SSLC, 12 years, 15 years, 17 years of education. After all this education, they just don't have any drive, any ability to get a job. So it's a country where you have like millions and millions of people who are unemployed, But at the same time, people are trying to hire these millions and millions of people and they can't find them. And so this program that we have where we train 5,000 young men and women, it's amazing to see how easy it is to change the mindset of these people in 4 months.
Now, when it comes to balancing business and family, one advice there.
Well, you just have to prioritize. You have to make sure that business is important, but also family is important. And so, but you have to put everything else away. Don't get distracted with hundreds of things.
One lesson you will teach your children.
Pursue your passion.
And how do you know that this is what my passion is?
If you enjoy doing it, if you get up in the morning and you're excited about what you're doing, you know you're doing the right thing.
Now, the one value you have led your life with.
Clarity in my intentions. I'm usually very clear as to why I'm doing something, and the more I make it about the rest of the world, the easier I find to have clarity in that thinking.
One business leader who has inspired you most.
Well, probably, of all these new high-tech guys like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Google guys, it's amazing what they've been able to do in one lifetime.
One philosopher who has inspired you with his or her philosophy.
Well, I follow Chinmayananda quite a bit. And he's done an amazing job of simplifying and spreading the word.
One book which has really inspired you as well. Or you keep going back to that one particular book?
I don't know if I go back to one particular book, but I've sort of simplified my life to the point where I just believe in very, very simple things. I've come to the conclusion that simple things are hard to do, hard things are impossible to do. And so I try to simplify things to something very, very simple.
One way you will deal with your critics.
Oh, I love them. If somebody criticizes me, I think I'm now mature enough. Maybe in my young days I used to get mad, but that's not the reaction I usually have. I usually want to listen to them and see what their perspective is and see what I can do about it. Sometimes there's not much I can do because that's who I am, but sometimes I probably can change.
One thing is very important for you as a person or as a businessman to control your anger. How do you do that?
I'm sort of beyond that now. I don't know when is the last time I got angry at something, because I know that if you get angry, you lose it. You can't think, you can't negotiate, you can't get to the right decision. So it's very rare that I get angry. I don't remember in the last, maybe 5-10 years of actually getting angry at somebody and saying, I lose it.
Now, your last word on one thing.
Well, one thing is very important because, if you want to do something, you can't really get it done until you put everything into it. But at the same time, it's a big world and there's a lots going on. And so you need to look around, you need to talk to a lot of people. There's a lot of interesting people. And so, the world always talks about networking and exploring and all these things. So you need a mix of the two. You need to be connected with a lot of things. You need a very broad interest. But at the same time, if you do find something that you're passionate about and something you want to do, then you need to go back to that one thing, because unless you focus, you can't get it done. But I find it very interesting to be able to go back and forth between, being able to be very broad, but at the same time, when I find something that I need to get done, I get very focused and get it done.
So how the definition of one changes with various phases in life? Can it remain the same or it changes?
No, it changes. When you're a student, you want to do well in school and you want to understand things. And then, I fell into this entrepreneurship. I became an entrepreneur. And then, I think after I had a successful entrepreneurship, then it's sort of like, hey, I've been an entrepreneur, I've been a CEO. So then I said, well, I should facilitate other people to do the same thing that I've done. Then I became a mentor. But now I feel that I need to sort of not only work in mentoring the kind of people that I know, the high tech, the biotech, the software, hardware, but also people who have been left behind, the shared prosperity, how do you make sure that everybody can be a part of it? But they can all be entrepreneurs in their own way. Somebody who builds a very small business but lives in an impoverished community, I find that those entrepreneurs, when they latch onto an idea and do something, they're just as excited as anybody else. In fact, even more excited, because it's an opportunity for them. It's not for somebody who has everything, being in those situations is like giving up a lot of stuff. But people who have nothing, when you create an opportunity for them, it's just amazing to see the amount of excitement. And that's very exciting for me.
Excellent. Desh, thank you very much.
Great.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.